Hey guys and girls of the interwebs, I'm Ian.
And I'm Lindsay.
And this is a Ballroom Blitz.
Okay chaps, today we are going to have a look at the Cha-Cha. It's a particular figure called the New Yorks. Absolute classic. Let's have a look. New Yorks follow the classic pattern that we find a lot of in your base cha-cha movements of a step, a rock, and then a chassé following our cha-cha-cha 4 and 1 timing. Let's have a look at the footwork first, and then we'll have a bit of a look at some do's and don'ts. New Yorks can happen to either side. We often do them in pairs or multiple groups, but you can just do one and then move on to the next figure. Depending on which foot I am ready on, that will determine which way I turn. Say I'm ready to use my right foot. I want to step forward into my New York. So I'm going to be on a little bit of an angle already from my partner, and I take a step forward on my right. That's on beat 2. Rock backwards on beat 3, and then I've got my cha-cha-cha. If I turn it a little bit, I can set up one on the other side. So I'll have 2, 3, 4 and 1. One of the main points of the New York is that instead of one of us stepping forward and the other one stepping back as we do in our basics, we're both going to step forward. So that requires us to turn side by side with our partner in order to take that first step. So we're both of us stepping forward in the same direction, then we rock and we face each other again for our cha-cha-cha. If we do it on the other side, we're both of us stepping forward into the figure, rocking back, cha-cha-cha.
Alrighty, let's do some do's and don'ts. First, the do's. Do this figure, it's awesome. Do make sure when you're leading this figure leads that you don't stay too straight. As Lindsay said, we want to be on a little bit of an angle. You'll basically want to move through open promenade or open counter promenade as appropriate. So you're kind of halfway there. You've already turned about an eighth. And then by the time you get into the step, taking that forward step on 2, you're turning the remainder of the amount. Don't get here and be very square and then take all that turn on step 2. It's actually quite harsh to do that, and your follower is most likely going to miss the lead if you try it.
Now, after we take that first step, a good check for us is if our shoulders are all in a nice square line. So by that, we need to make sure that we have turned enough to take that step, that we're not sort of stepping over ourselves, but also that we haven't overturned it. What you see a lot of is people almost going back to back, and that's not correct. That sort of turns that into a sideways step, and it's too far. You'll have to sort of yank back into your starting position again. So we set it up over our preceding cha-cha-cha onto that slight angle, and then it's just a little bit more turn. Our shoulders are nice and straight in a line. We haven't overturned and sort of rolled that shoulder forward or anything.
No. If you're a competitive dancer, well, let's face it, you're not watching these videos if you are, but if you see competitive dancers do that styling, that's fine, but they obviously have a much more polished routine and a much better idea of their partner's tension, etc. For social dancing, when you want to pull this out, just having some fun, really don't overextend. It looks bad, it feels bad, and it's just not necessary.
Yeah. If we do want to give this a little bit more shape though, that's where you can play around with the arms for styling. So we've just been demonstrating with the hand fairly low, but we can sort of let our creative juices flow a little bit with an arm out to the side or up. We find out to the side is sort of more balanced. Just make sure you're not hitting the people dancing next to you. And that's it for New York. So nice and simple, but kind of nice and flashy, following that classic rhythm. So make sure you stick it into your cha-cha routines. As always, get into your local studios, get on that dance floor, and we'll see you next time.
That's it for today's Blitz, guys and girls. Don't forget to like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
And smash that notification button so you know when the next one comes out.